Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is a marketing skills episode. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I believe so deeply and so strongly that the best marketing strategy in the world is being exceptional and extraordinary in your client work so that you create such beautiful results and such transformation with your clients that they are so happy in the work with you. And that in turn poises you to build your business, to activate more renewals, to activate more referrals from happy clients, and to help you feel confident in the marketing that you're doing. So, being able to co-create results and transformation with your clients. This is why Sacred Depths exists and really why most of my offerings exist. But that being said, even when you're extraordinary in your client work, and even when you've got a lot of clients who are fans, you do need some marketing skills and strategies in place. If only it could just be about being extraordinary. Again, I think that is 80% of it. Having those happy clients are so important for those renewals, for those referrals, for spreading your reputation. But there's still marketing, actual marketing skills and strategies. And that's why inside of Sacred Depths, I also provide a ton of marketing instruction and marketing coaching and strategizing and support. I've been in business for a long time, for 25 years now, and I've been marketing for all of those 25 years. And through it, I have learned a lot about what works and also a lot about what doesn't work. And today, I want to share about one of the biggest mistakes that I see across the board in marketing. And by the way, it's one of the mistakes that I myself have made more than once. And here it is. People, when they write about their work or their offerings, or when they share about their work inside of preview events, or when they have sales conversations, really in all of their marketing, people are being way too general in the ways that they're communicating, and also way too fancy in the ways that they're communicating. A big mistake is being too vague in your marketing, too polished in your marketing, and too full of jargon. And because of all of that, then you end up being not nearly specific or human enough. And when that happens, the result is that your people, they don't feel you. They don't see themselves in your work. They don't feel that emotional hook that makes them go, wait, she knows me. She gets me. This is exactly what I'm going through, right? And instead, people just kind of scroll past. So let me show you what I mean. Here's an example of a sentence in marketing that I've actually seen numerous times out there. Here's a sentence, quote, I help women step into their power and live their most aligned lives. End quote. Okay, that sounds nice, but it doesn't land. What is that sentence actually saying? What does it even mean? What's a relatable example that shows what this is all about versus tells? And how can the reader really know that this is something that's important and relevant for them? One problem with the marketing sentence, quote, I help women step into their power and live their most aligned lives, end quote, is that it's too general. So let me make it more specific. Listen to this sentence. I work with women who lie awake at night replaying conversations, wondering if they said the wrong thing, who are exhausted from overthinking every decision, and who secretly don't trust themselves, even though everyone else sees them as capable. End quote. Do you feel the difference between the first and the second? The second one, that's the one that makes someone stop and say, oh, she's talking about me. So specificity creates resonance. Specificity creates resonance. It's not the broad, sweeping statements that get people's attention. It's the specific moments that you describe. It's the specific behaviors that you talk about. It's the specific internal experiences that you articulate. So let me give you another example. Here's an example of something way too general. Quote, I help coaches grow their businesses. Now listen to this next one, much more specific. I help coaches who are posting on social media consistently, showing up to workshops, doing all the right things, but still checking their bank account at the end of the month and wondering, why isn't this working? What's wrong with me? That second example lands because now we're not talking about just general, I help with business growth. Instead, we're being specific so that people can see their outer situation in the writing, right? The constant posting, the taking actions, but not seeing progress. So when we get specific about the outer situation, number one, the reader is reminded immediately of exactly why they need support. And also, number two, the reader sees right away that you get them. You understand what they're going through, and you have solutions to their specific issues. Now, here's the other thing. Did you also notice in that last example that I gave that there was also specificity around what's happening in the prospect's inner world? So I articulated what's going on in their minds, right? They're saying, why isn't this working? And what is wrong with me? So again, that shows the reader that you know what's going on in their head, that you understand people that are exactly like them. You get it. When you get specific, you elicit recognition and emotion. And when you elicit recognition and emotion, you're poising an aligned prospect for a potential sale. And this is where most people miss it when they're preparing their marketing. They don't get specific and they don't describe the lived experience. They don't describe the spiral of thoughts or the second guessing or the quiet shame or the internal pressure, right? Whatever it is that you help your clients with, these are the things that are holding them back. And you want to describe them. That's what creates the emotional hook. And I want to be really clear because what I'm not talking about when you describe a prospect's live experience is I'm not talking about shaming them because of where they're at or what they haven't achieved or what they think. And I'm not talking about creating more fear inside of them. There's a lot of, I don't know, I guess we could call it aggressive marketing out there that kind of preys on people in really unethical ways. And they speak about lived experience and they do a really good job. They're very specific about it. but they do it in ways that just pile more shame onto the reader or the listener. We don't want to do that. We want to describe our prospect's live experience. We want to name the spiral of thoughts, the second guessing, the shame they might feel, the pressure, the ways they're not creating what they want. But we want to do it in trauma-informed ways, and we want to do it in ethical ways. In other words, we want to do this in a way where we're not shaming people for not being where they want to be, for not have achieving their goals, but instead we're naming it with honor and respect for the reader. So we want to be specific about lived experience, and we want to also be specific about potential outcomes. What are the potential outcomes that someone can experience if they work with you? So again, we want to throw general words out the window because being general doesn't really activate anyone, and we want to get specific with outcomes. So let me give you an example, actually straight from the Sacred Depths Transformational Practitioner Training. If I were to be general when I spoke about outcomes for people that go through Sacred Depths, I might say, you'll become a truly masterful practitioner. Okay, that's good enough. But now listen to this, which is much more specific. You'll become the type of coach or practitioner who can handle any situation your client shows up with. If they show up with procrastination, you're going to know what to do. If they show up with overwhelm, you're going to know what to do. If they're stuck in fear and not moving towards their goals, you're going to know what to do. If they always say yes to people when they really mean no, you're going to know how to help them. And when you learn how to be this kind of practitioner, then not only do you have clients who remember you always as someone who helped them change their lives, but you also get to go to sleep at night feeling calm and knowing that you've done incredible work, right? So hopefully, my dear listener, you're starting to really see the difference between general marketing and specific marketing. So this is important to know. Here's the next thing. And actually, before we even get to the next thing, let me pause for a moment and just do a quick review so far. We talked a lot so far about being specific in your marketing versus being general, right? And how specificity creates resonance. We also spoke about being specific, not only in terms of outer things that are happening, right? You didn't get the job, you don't have the romantic relationship yet, you're not moving forward in your business. Those are outer pieces. We talked about being specific not only in outer situations, but also getting inside people's head and being specific around what's happening in their inner world, right? Using actual words that they say to themselves. We also spoke about the importance of when you get specific, particularly around current lived experience, about not being shaming or unethical, but doing it in ways that really honor the person that's reading or listening to you. And we spoke about being specific about outcomes as well, right? What they're going to get. Don't be general. I see a lot out there, things like you'll have more freedom, or you'll have more confidence, or you'll feel great. But what do those things mean? Again, you want to really use specific examples. Now, here's another important thing to know. People buy first with their emotions and then with their logic and intellect. I'm going to say that again. First, people buy with their emotion, and then they buy with their logic or their intellect. So, what that means is that, yes, inside of your marketing, you do want to talk about logistics, right? How much does it cost? What is involved? How many sessions? Talk about those logistics, but you never want to lead with logistics. You always want to lead with activating someone's emotion first, with speaking to their heart first. That is what opens the door for someone to consider the sale. And once you've opened the door and you've really activated the emotion, then you can talk about the logistics. And to evoke emotion, not only in your marketing do you want to be specific, like we've been talking about, and not only do you want to describe what's happening inside of your prospects' minds, but also at certain moments inside of your marketing, you want to create a scene that evokes emotion. You want to create a scene. So, a lot of people try to create emotion like this. For example, are you feeling stuck and overwhelmed? Okay, sure. You know, it's good enough, but it's generic. Are you feeling stuck and overwhelmed? It doesn't really touch anything deep inside of your prospect. But now listen to this. Listen and look for the scene here. Do you ever sit down to work, open your laptop, and you just look at the blank screen, but it gives you a headache? Like you have no idea what to do next. And so you check Instagram, you make a snack, you answer a random email, and before you know it, the day is gone and you're beating yourself up again for another wasted day. That is an emotional hook. And that's because it creates a scene. Okay, let's kind of take this a step farther for a moment and let's talk about jargon. Because this is the other big related issue to being specific and emotional versus being general and not relatable. A lot of marketers think that sounding smart or advanced or industry level is going to make them more credible. But sometimes it actually does the opposite. Being smart or sounding smart, sounding industry level, it can often create distance. Distance from being relatable and distance from emotion. And again, first we need to activate emotion, right? So here's an example of what jargon might sound like. Quote, I help you regulate your nervous system and rewire subconscious limiting beliefs so that you can embody your highest self. End quote. So that sentence that I just shared, that might be true about your work, but it doesn't evoke any feeling. Now, listen to this instead. Quote, and by the way, there's no jargon in this second one. Quote, I help you stop spiraling when something small goes wrong so that you don't lose an entire day to anxiety or self-doubt, right? Or listen to this next one. I help you finally follow through on the things you say you want, like doing more outreach to potential clients, like creating content, like sending emails out to your community instead of procrastinating, avoiding, or talking yourself out of it. So, do you notice the difference? That first one, the one with all the jargon about rewiring subconscious beliefs and regulating, that one sounds like a lot of smart sounding words. But the other two examples that I gave you, they're human, they're relatable. They meet your prospect exactly where your prospect is at. And they demonstrate to your prospect that you understand them. Now, the one caveat to the jargon thing, see, this is where I am a little lucky, is if you are speaking to other professionals in your field, then you can use a little bit of jargon. So I use words in my marketing like regulation, like somatics, like shadow, etc., because I am in my marketing, I'm speaking to other professionals, I'm speaking to other coaches, to other therapists, to other transformational practitioners, and they speak the language, right? So I get a little leeway on this, but most people don't. Oh, and let me give you another example on all of this. Here's a jargon heavy example. Quote, and also this is a very general one. Quote, this program will help you collapse timelines and quantum leap your results. End quote. Okay, so I guess good, but what did that sentence really just tell me? What did it say to me? What does it evoke? Not really too much. But now here's an example of a simple, specific, and more effective sentence. Instead of writing an email, deleting it, rewriting it, and still not hitting send, you'll know exactly what to say and actually send it. Right? No jargon in that one. Nothing about the quantum leaps and the collapse timelines, which maybe some people know what that means, but they don't feel it in their hearts, right? But instead, specific, emotional, and then of creating a little bit of a scene, like we spoke about. Now, for those of you that are listening, I know what the big, because I know my people, and I've been teaching a long time, I know what the big resistance to getting specific is. You might be thinking in your head, well, what if I write about a specific scenario, a specific example, and the prospect is a perfect prospect for me, but they haven't experienced that exact example. And so they're just going to think I'm not for them. So I need to keep it more general. Well, I want to tell you, my friend, well, instead of telling you, I want to invite you to maybe think about that a little bit differently. And I want to let you know that even when you use specific examples that a prospect, they haven't experienced that one example, A, they're still going to get it. It's still going to evoke something for them. And then B, the idea actually is through your marketing to use multiple specific examples and scenarios. Now, Some marketing assets, you're going to have space for lots and lots of different examples, like on a sales page because it's longer. Other marketing assets, you may not have as much space for many examples, right? If it's a sales email, but you're going to send out more than one sales email. So it's okay, right? So here's the shift that I want you to make. In all of your marketing, in your emails, your sales pages, your social posts, your workshops, your sales conversations, stop asking yourself, how do I sound more impressive? Or what can I say to make people know how smart I am or how much I know? And instead, I want to invite you to start asking the following questions. Can my prospect see themselves in what I'm sharing? Can they feel themselves in this? Does this sound like something that they would actually say or think or feel? And I want to give you a couple of simple ways to check yourself and your marketing in all of this. So, if your marketing could apply to almost anyone, I pinky promise you it is too general. You're not being specific enough, right? So that's one litmus test. Does it apply to almost anyone? Number two, if your marketing sounds like something people in your industry say, but not what your clients would say, then it's too jargony. And I'll just add a little kind of extra thing here. If your marketing can only be understood by someone 16 and over, like the actual words and the vocabulary in it, then it's too jargony. You're being too smarty pants. It's not the kinds of things, even if your client is 90, that they're saying to themselves. Now, if your marketing makes someone feel slightly exposed in a how did you know that kind of way without shaming them, then you're on the right track. So, as we bring this episode to a close, here's what I really want you to know. Your people are not looking for the most impressive message. That's not what we want to do in our messaging. We don't want to be impressive. Your people are looking for the most accurate message. The one that feels like, oh, finally, someone gets it. Someone gets me. And that only happens when you're willing to be specific, when you're willing to say the real thing, when you're willing to trade sounding good for actually being felt. And by the way, everything I just shared, this is also true inside of your client sessions and your group work as well. How are you asking questions? How are you making reflections where people feel, oh, I am truly being seen and heard? So I really hope that you got a lot of value from today's episode. In an overarching way, here's what I want you to take. Number one, be specific and not general in your marketing. Number two, evoke emotion, emotion before logic. Number three, be specific about lived experience without shaming. Number four, don't use jargon or sound too smart. Of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to marketing and copy skills and tips. And I share so many more inside of Sacred Depths. This is the type of marketing work that we do inside of Sacred Depths. And also, I read your copy and the marketing that you put together inside of Sacred Depths, and I give you feedback and I give you suggestions. So, if you've been looking for this type of support alongside with the opportunity to go deeper in your client work, to go deeper in your skill with your clients in your groups and to do your own inner work, then check out Sacred Depths. There is an early bird rate for the next little bit. And if it's something that really speaks to you, oh, by the way, when you check out the page, look for specificity in the marketing, look for emotion, look for scenes. I bet you'll be able to spot it now. And if it's something that's really calling to you and your heart, if it's something that you know you really want for yourself, go ahead and schedule a call. Let's talk about it. Let's see if it's right for you. As always, thank you so much for your time. I don't take it for granted that you're here with me. I hope you received exactly what you needed to receive today. And as always, if you sense that this episode would be helpful for someone you know, please pass it along. That is my best way of getting the word out.